G'day ladies and gents, and welcome to Victory at Sea Pacific. As I mentioned the other day, we are going to start a campaign here and see exactly how well we can actually do in the Pacific campaign. Now we're playing as the United States. Before we get too far into this, it is the 7th of the 12th, 1941 at 1 PM, and it's probably worth quickly going over to see exactly what units we have available. So we have Task Force 1, 2, 3, 8, 12 and 6 available to us at this point. This is right at the start of the game. We have jumped the tutorial, so we're going straight into the main campaign. So we're going to have a look and see exactly what these task forces consist of. So the first one is TF1 down here at Hawaii. Now this is the remains of the battleships that survived the attack at Pearl. So we have the Tennessee, the Pennsylvania, and the Maryland, along with three destroyers. That's the Pearl Harbor Defense Fleet. 5 torpedo boats, plus the aircraft, which consist of SBDs and Catalinas for the most part for anti-submarine. So if we quickly go through and have a look, there's a small loading screen whenever you jump into the local maps. We'll make sure time is not moving at this point, because we've got some other things going on. This is our fleet, and as you can see, the battleships have got minor damage, or major damage in some cases. Now, just like with the real battleships of the attack for Pearl, once they were floated and made seaworthy again following the attack, they were sent off to the mainland to actually get repairs before returning. So we're probably going to do exactly the same thing here. Any repairs outside of these 3 points here, which represent bases on the US mainland coast. We've got, what do we got here? We've got the Sound, Mare Island, and San Diego. These don't consume resources to do the repairs because you're on the mainland, because that's where all your supplies come from. Anything that happens in any of the ports will consume the port supplies in order to issue the repairs. So it'll take our battleships out of the game for a little bit to move them, but I don't think that's going to be a major issue because we're not going to need them straight away. So let's separate our DDs here, get them all into one squadron. Well, that sort of worked. I actually wanted to transfer those into... Yeah, I'll fix that up in just a second. Alright, so Task Force 1, going to issue a move order, and we're going to head to San Diego. Patrol, raid, merge fleets, move. Actually, we can go there and issue repair and resupply. Now, once we zoom back in, I want to merge fleets. Alright, so there we go. So we've got 3 destroyers, and I want to keep the 3 destroyers. We're going to send them just to Pearl, get them refueled and resupplied there. I want to keep the destroyers around Pearl for future defenses. So moving on, we have 2 more fleets up here. We have Task Force 12 and 3. Now 3 consists of 1 cruiser and 2 destroyers, the Indianapolis and our escorts. We're going to issue those an order to head north. We'll just move them and get them underway. Now everything moves in real time here, so once I start the clock we are going to have to do some time acceleration. And we've got Task Force 12, which is the Lexington's fleet. I'm not particularly happy with this fleet setup initially. We don't have a lot of escorts with Lexington, but we do have the units available on Midway, including a limited selection of aircraft and a couple of torpedo boats. And we do have 2 Japanese destroyers coming in, so I am going to issue an order for the Lexington's fleet to go to Midway for the moment. And I'm not going to progress much further than that, just have her hanging around. She'll still be in a position where she can run if necessary, but she can run defense of these convoys that are coming through. We don't have direct control of the convoys, they are moving just to resupply Midway automatically, because Midway needs to resupply. But she'll be able to keep them under control and act as defense around Midway until I can get another fleet to her. I could merge TF3, but I want some defenses up here because we have the... I can never pronounce that. Regardless, we have the string of bases across the northern part of the Pacific, but they've only got torpedo boats and sometimes trawlers available for defense, and they have very little in the way of aircraft. They've only got spotters, so very undefended. If Japan comes up through here, I want to have something that stops them from progressing across the top of the Pacific if possible. And down here we have TF8. Now this is much better. This is the Enterprise's task force, and it has a nice collection of ships. Now we still own Johnson, although we don't have much in the way of defences. We just have the torpedo boats. Don't have a particularly big range. Now I do believe we have a mission to start off with, so coastal ports objectives. We've got a raid order or objective order to raid the Makin Atoll, which is over here. Marshall Islands, Wake Island, where are we at here? Makin Atoll. So this is one of our raid objectives. And we've got Tarawa as well. I reckon we'll send Task Force 8 and start heading in towards the Makin Atoll. And she can go in there, Enterprise can go in and actually issue the raid. Now, we do have a couple of more fleets, but these are based on the mainland coast at this point in time. So, we have TF6, one cruiser and one carrier. I'm actually going to move them just out here. And we have Task Force 2, which has got Colorado as well as her escorts. So I'm going to send them to merge with TF6, and I'm going to send TF6, actually we'll start short run just off the coast, and then we'll bring them down towards Hawaii, and from there we can actually bring them into effect. Now the carrier we've got here, yeah, it's a Saratoga. We've got the Saratoga. Alright, so that just about has all our fleets under control to begin with. Now we do have to take a look at what we have here. 2 destroyers incoming. We have 5 torpedo boats in defense of Midway. And we have Midway's air defenses, which we have Catalinas, anti-submarine warfare, Catalina bombers, and just dive bombers. What are their range? Range is actually pretty good. I might issue a strike straight away. That's interesting. The blur effect. There was a patch since I did the review on it. Looks like the blur effect has been removed from the aircraft, which is nice. The models still aren't super detailed, but they don't need to be. Speed up time a little here. Straight in towards Midway. And he's going to attack. Yep, there we go. Snap 2. Almost on targets. Bombs away. And that is 1 destroyer out. Dive bomber flight is on return. Alright, Catalinas are coming in. We may have overdone it with the Catalinas, I think, but we should be still good. You know, all things considered, the Catalina 3D model isn't all that bad. And bombs away. Looks like the Catalinas did not make it in time. Looks like our second wing of Dauntless managed to take them out, and that is the destroyer fleet dealt with. So Catalinas will return to base, they'll put themselves back in. And Japan's just lost 2 destroyers. Not exactly a payback for the battleships they took at Hawaii, but we'll get them. We will get them. Destroyer and cruiser force is going to take way too long, and we have an alert. Enemy vessels have been spotted in the North Pacific. View on map. Johnson Atoll, continue. We'll keep that at 1 speed. What have we got? 4 submersibles. Great, we've got a submarine force. Do we have any anti-submarine warfare aircraft that would be within range? The dive bombers are fine, but we need somebody who can actually spot these things once they're submerged. Wildcats. Wildcats. Nope, 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 nope. Devastators. No, we have no anti-submarine warfare at all. Now, this isn't a huge problem having them come in on Johnson, because there's nothing there for them to torpedo. We've got the closest convoy ship fleet is over here, the Convoy George, and it's heading back towards Pearl Harbor at this point in time. It has its own escort in the form of 2 destroyers, which would make a mess even of 4 submersibles, but they would never catch them. They would never catch them. Once they were engaged, these guys would be forced to submerge and the convoy would make it out of the way. Johnson itself only has the torpedo boats at this point in time, but the issue is pardon me, the issue is the submersibles can be used to recon the bases, which means they will sit off the coast and they will spot everything that we have on this island, potentially for a future attack. That is not something that I want. For those who are curious, the coloured areas, so the lighter areas versus the darker areas, it's a fog of war thing. As you can see, this will slowly fade out over time. Yeah, I would like to deal with those submersibles. I know they're there. I just don't have any assets within the region at this point that I can really send. Outside of maybe sending the destroyers from Pearl. That could work. Enemy vessels spotted near Hawaii. And I'm glad I didn't move anything. 5 submersibles. Jesus, Japan. It's almost like you want to win the war or something. Okay, so our Catalinas did a little bit of damage, but didn't actually sink any of the enemy. Task Force 14 has encountered enemy submersibles near Hawaii. That is exactly where I'm looking at the moment. Enter combat. This is exactly what we're going for. Our Catalina didn't actually manage to destroy any of the submersibles, but it did manage to damage one, and it kept them spotted as they attempted to withdraw. So, we should be good at this point to close in. It looks like all 5 are on the surface. Make sure the entire group is selected, so I'm just going to go straight at them. Speed is currently set to flank, so that's fine. We'll speed up time a little bit here as we start to close in. Sonar is up as we're closing in. Our first target has already been ranged. We have an I-22. Spread is good. We can change the formation of our fleet, but we're going to leave that as is. Alright. Lynchfield, I want you to go for the I-16. Chandler, I want you to go for the I-22. Hoovy, I want you just to go wide. We've got torpedoes in the water, so the submarine's already having a crack, which is entirely expected. Now we've got 5 of them out here. We've only got 3 destroyers, so we need to make sure we take them out in their first pass. And that one's disappeared, so that one's gone deep. That one's gone very deep. But the I-22 hasn't. It's come up. And impact. Hovey, engage. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Oh, watch out, Chandler. That is a torpedo. Okay. Hovey's taken some damage too. I actually didn't check to see whether or not the destroyers were damaged before I sent them into combat as well. They may well have been, or he may have copped a torpedo there. Field, attack, and attack. And was that a straight sinking, or have we forced one to the surface there? Judging from that torpedo, we have one over here. That looks like it may have been a straight destruction. Yep, we have another one down. Let's get Chandler back over here into the group. Now I want to bring the Lynch field over here and see whether or not we can spot them from behind while sort of build a triangle around them, see if we can triangulate their locations based on our sonar. Looks like we've got 3 confirmed kills yet. There's 5. Here's our next one. I-16. Oh, sorry, I-20 rather. 2 in. Bring the Chandler into the center of the group. Torpedo launch then, but I didn't see where it went. No detection on the launch itself. And submarine, yeah, impact on submarine. And attack. Did we get it? Looks like we got that one, and that looks like wreckage, so that's a destruction there. So, that should be... I'm only seeing 4 wrecks. We're missing one. Assault of the Japanese assault on Pearl Harbor. Summary. Yep, that was our first one. American vessels near the North Pacific came across a lone Japanese destroyer. The resulting conflict left the Japanese destroyer sunk with no damage to our vessels. That's excellent. Roosevelt's address to the nation. Battle of Hawaii. Our forces engaged with an enemy subgroup on Monday the 15th of December 1941 and dealt a heavy blow, sinking 5 enemy vessels. No, we did get the 5th one. I thought we only had 4, judging by the wrecks on the surface. Sinking 5 enemy vessels with 0 losses to report from Task Force 14. There we go. The 5 submarines have been defeated at Pearl. Midway is secure for the moment, and it looks like TF-12 has now arrived, so we now have an aircraft carrier based just off the coast of Midway, as well as Midway's own air support and the torpedo boats. So we should be able to hold Midway for the moment without too much of an issue. The Enterprise is still making her way down towards the atoll, where we will make our strike, and... does look like in all of that, Task Force 6 has combined, so we can begin bringing Task Force 6 down towards Hawaii, while TF1 is still making its way back for repairs. Our biggest concern at this point in time is, of course, a Japanese, small Japanese group that is moving in on our bases across the north of the Pacific. Unfortunately, Task Force 3 is not going to make it there fast enough to stop, so I expect these will clear out the defences. We'll do what we can to try and stop them, but we'd have to be really lucky. Torpedo boats versus light cruisers, that's going to make a mess. And we don't have a huge amount of them either. We've only got, I think, 5 in total. So I expect they're going to clear out the defences, and then we'll probably see landing ships across the north of the Pacific. So if we can at least get our task force here up somewhere in the mid to try and stop that force, it'll force Japan to send more ships up this end of the world, and hopefully we'll be able to put up a decent defense at some point and take that back, because that would be really good. Not a bad start. Anyways, ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. As always, remember to check the video description down below for links to all of my social media and to my Patreon if you would like to help support the channel. And as always, remember to click that like button, share and subscribe if you would like to see more. And as always, take care.